Hey Pilates Party people, welcome to my channel or welcome back to my channel. My name is Caroline, a certified Pilates and yoga instructor here in Christchurch, New Zealand. Today we have a full body reformer workout, and here in Flow we have our Pilates box as well as our Pilates ball. That Pilates ball is going to be a pillow at first, so just taking it onto a lowered headrest. From here, we're going to look at that foot bar, making sure that foot bar is lifted and popping the hood to take a look at those springs. We have some progressions and regression in the spring load. So level 1 being the regression is going to be 1 heavy, 1 medium spring. So that's 2 springs being 1 heavy, 1 medium. That progression or that level 2 is going to be 1 heavy, 1 medium, and adding on a light spring. I promise that light spring is going to do more than you think. So that is 1 heavy, 1 medium, 1 light spring. Coming onto your side body, again, that ball is going to be a pillow in the headrest. The headrest is lowered. We have that box off to the side, coming down onto your side body here. That underarm is going to wrap around the shoulder rest. Those knees are going to fold into tabletop, lifting the lower foot just up a little bit so that platform, that foot pad, doesn't bite it on the way back in. Taking that top leg, lifting it up to tabletop. So making sure the big toe on the pinky edge and that heel are anchored on the foot bar. Hips are nice and square. And then if that top knee is a little bit lower, lift it up to hip height as well. So the hip, the knee, and the second and third toe are all in one beautiful alignment. That's where they want to stay. We'll press through the heel to get this party started. So as you exhale, pressing through that standing heel, inhale, fold back in. Exhale, press it out for the count of 4. A long exhale. Inhale, folding in. Continue here. On the next exhale, lift the lower set of ribs towards the top set of ribs, lengthening through the spine. Last 3. Last 2. Hips are nice and square. Knee is still aligned with that hip. Imagine you have a coffee cup on that top knee. This last one, we're going to exhale, press out nice and long, pause, fold in just halfway, little pulses. Now they're going to be slow pulses. So as you exhale, press out for 2 inches. Inhale, fold in for 2 inches. Exhale, use the whole exhale, pressing out, letting that carriage glide. Inhale, folding in those 2 inches. Keep those hips nice and square, even wrapping that top hip slightly forward to align with the bottom. That top knee still has that coffee cup, not a drop has spilled. And the lower set of ribs still lift, just hovering off the mat. This time as you exhale, press out nice and long, well done. Folding back into the stoppers. Now we're going to find a turnout. That doesn't mean the hips are going to turn up. The hips are going to stay nice and square. So if that hand is wrapped around that shoulder rest, take it for just a moment on that top hip. From here, just that thigh bone is going to spiral, pivoting on the heel, turning the toes up to the sky. The knee travels with you in turnout or external rotation. Make sure the heel is nice and comfy, cozy, nice and stable, making sure the top hip is wrapped forward, and then proceed to press out nice and long. Inhale to fold back in. Keep that external rotation, even looking down, making sure that knee and the toes are in a beautiful alignment. 3, 2, and 1. Whole exhale to press, whole inhale to lower back in. This time as you exhale, press out nice and long, folding in just halfway. Keep that nice turnout or that external rotation. Press up 2 inches, inhale 2 inches back down. Exhale up 2 inches again. It's nice and slow, taking the whole exhale to press out that 2 inches, that whole inhale to pull in. Last 4. Well done. Press out nice and long through that heel and fold all the way back in. Turn back to parallel or that knee and that hip in alignment, toes pressing on. Let's press out from here. Press. Fold in, pivot on the heel, turn the knee up, the toes up, press out. So we're changing from parallel to that external or that turnout rotation. Press in parallel, press and turn out. Last one. Whole press in and out. Whole press in and out. Turn back to parallel. Beautiful. Fold the knee, even collapsing it onto the bottom knee. Give that glute a little bit of a shake out. Awesome work. If you do have lighter springs here, we're all going to meet with an extra little spring load. So if you are on that regression or that level 1, which I will be with you, we're going to keep the heavy and the medium spring on, but adding on one more heavy spring and one light spring. So that's one more heavy, one more light. If you are on that progression, level 2, we're going to have the same spring loads throughout. So you are just going to add on one more heavy. Closing the carriage and taking that ball with you. Come back onto your back body, spiral around. The headrest is still lowered, resting the spine nice and long onto the carriage, head onto the headrest. Heels land onto that foot bar, taking the ball just in between the knees. So those feet are hip width distance apart. So that ball is going to have a subtle little squeeze onto it. Just naturally, your knees want to be in line with the second to third toe. Hands are then going to rest down by your side. Exhale, scoop the tail, imprint the lower spine, slowly start to articulate up into that bridge, lifting the pelvis, stacking the vertebrae, arcing the front of the legs towards where the ceiling meets the wall. At the top, as you find your next exhale, soften the ribs together and soften them down. The floating ribs like to fan out, but we're going to float those ribs down towards the spine, engage the glutes. On your next exhale here, slowly melting down. Back of the neck feels nice and soft. Back of the shoulder blades melt down, one vertebrae at a time. Beautiful. Unravel the tail at the very end. One more time, just like that. Exhaling to lift. Inhaling to pause. On the next exhale, feel that rib-hip connection. So those floating ribs at the base of the rib cage are going to soften down towards the front of the hips. Feel a soft bit of rounding. Exhale once again and slowly melt down. All right, we're gonna build that pace a little bit. An option here is to take the arms up over the chest, plug the shoulders in, exhale, scoop the tail, imprint the lower spine, lifting and articulating into that bridge. Pausing here, inhale, feel that rib hip connection, exhale, melting down. So it's a little bit faster. We're using a slightly different breath. Exhale, rolling all the way up. Inhale, feel that connection. Exhale. Beautiful, just mobilizing through the spine. Inhale, exhale. All right, imagine that ball is going to stay in between the knees. It's not though, you're going to take it in between the hands, but make sure those knees stay in that hip width distance apart space. Hands, however, have the ball and it's up over the chest. Exhale to scoop the tail, imprint the lower spine, lift and articulate into that bridge. Pause the top, feel that rib hip connection. Feel the space on the front of those hips, nice and square. We're gonna roll all that weight into the left foot and then reach the right leg to tabletop position. Try not to wibble through the hips and draw that hip down, draw that heel down, the hip stays steady. Shift the weight, lifting into the other side. Tapping down, hips stay nice and steady throughout. You can even slightly take a look down, take the gaze towards the hips. If it feels good here and you want a little extra, as you lift one leg to tabletop position, draw in towards the chest, so a little deeper. Wrap the ball around, step it down, lift the other leg. Wrap it around, and step it down. Wherever you are, we're here for about 10 more seconds. So it's your own time, your own pace, focusing on those hips, keeping the core nice and engaged, softening those floating ribs, keeping that engagement through the sit bones or the glutes. Last breath here, even out your sides. Once both heels melt down onto the foot bar, lift those hips up to the sky, engage through those glutes, and exhale, slowly melt down through the back of the spine, draping the string of pearls that is your spine onto the mat. Release. We're going to find that change of spring load. So when you're ready, I'll meet you up in a seated position without that ball just for now. Changing your spring load back down to your first springs. So that is level 1, 1 heavy, 1 medium, level 2, 1 heavy, 1 medium, and 1 light. And again, turning on to your side body, finding that nice long spine, whether you have a long torso and you need to slightly shift the bum back, or lengthen through the spine nice and long on that carriage. Fold the knees into tabletop, lift and hover that bottom leg or that bottom leg past the knee, and making sure that top leg is at tabletop position. Toes wrap, heel is digging in. Hand onto the hip or onto that front shoulder rest. Exhale, press out nice and long. And again, lifting to the lower set of ribs. Inhale to close. Exhale to press. Feeling that reach through the heel. Inhale to close. Four more, just like that. Checking down every once in a while, making sure that top knee hasn't flared out. The toes are still wrapped. We're pressing evenly through the big toe mound, the pinky edge, and a little bit more weight back into the heel. Feel the glutes and the hamstrings light up as that heel presses you away. Last one here. Exhale, press away. This time, as you find your inhale, fold in just halfway. Pulse from here, those slow pulses. Those controlled pulses, the 2 inches up on the exhale, the 2 inches down on the inhale. A brilliant time to just check in, making sure that knee is at tabletop, that cup of coffee hasn't moved. Wrapping the big toe mound, the pinky edge, heel press. The shoulders are nice and square, nice and soft. Lifting through the lower set of ribs, feeling that little mouse hole underneath the ribs. Last 2. Next time you press out nice and long, press all the way out, fold all the way back in. And of course, we're gonna start that alternating between a turn out. So turn the toes up, pivot on the heel, and turn that knee in line with the second, third toe. Wrap that top hip forward. Exhale, press out nice and long. Inhale, folding in. Parallel feet, toes land. Press through the heel, press long. Fold in, turn out, press out, fold in, parallel, press at parallel. Four, last one here. Wherever you are, have one more turn out and parallel. Next time you find that turn out, press out all the way. Now we find that halfway on that inhale, that little pulse. Now it's controlled, it's slow, the lower ribs have lifted, the shoulders have softened. It's getting nice and strong. Second side always hits different. We're here for 5 more counts, using the whole exhale to press out the 2 inches, the whole inhale to draw in the 2 inches. 3, 2. Last count here. So finishing up, pressing out all the way on the exhale, folding all the way back in on the inhale. Drop that top knee, shake out, massage that top glute, and then press to that shoulder rest to lift up. Swiveling back to the front, to find that spring change. This time, just taking a moment. We have been on our backs for quite a while. We'll all meet with just one heavy spring. That's just one heavy spring. That's level 1 and 2. No regression, no progression. Take that foot bar slightly down. That will be for later. Nope. There it is. All right. We're going to take that ball just under the sit bones and roll all the way nice and long, lifting those hips just enough so that we can place that ball underneath, making sure it's a ball that we can have a nice seat on. If it is a Pilates ball, this should be no big thing. If this is your first time sitting onto that ball, it can be quite nerve-wracking. Now, depending on the inflation of that ball, it might be quite bouncy side to side, or if it's decompressed a little bit and it has a little less air in it, it might be a little easier to find the sit bones. Making sure that you're not placing it under the lower spine, that you're placing it where you would place yourself in a seated position. So we would never sit onto our lower back. From here, the hands melt down by your side, lifting one leg to tabletop, then the other. Pause here. Making sure you find that balance. Sit those sit bones a little heavier, and we'll find a little bit deeper into the breath. So a little bit of a change into the breath pattern. Inhale, feel the back of the ribs widen and consume the carriage behind it. As you exhale, draw the lowest rib down towards the carriage, almost as if it's growing feet and just stepping onto that carriage, plugging you in. Inhale, fan out. Exhale, dropping down. Every time you drop the lowest rib down, make sure to sit into the pelvis a little heavier, as if there's a weighted blanket. Now, making sure those knees aren't folded in towards the chest. This does make it easier, and if you do need a regression at any point, that is always an option. Otherwise, a regression is to crisscross applesauce at the ankles. Otherwise, from here, that level 2 is making sure the knees and the hips are in alignment, pressing to the back of the pelvis. Inhale to expand on the back of the ribs. Exhale to drop the last rib down. Continuing here with that breath, exhale to drop the last rib down, reach and extend through one leg, kick it forward. The lower it goes, the more lower abdominal pressure will build. Inhale, float that leg back to tabletop. Finding a lot of stability here. Exhale, drop the lowest rib, reach out through the other leg. We continue here, and we're also going to find a little bit more engagement through the lower abdominals. Exhale, reach out through the leg, lift up and in through the lower abdominals, as if you're zipping up a coat here from the pubic bone all the way up to the belly button. Inhale. Exhale. Last breath. Even out the sides. Folding back to tabletop. Take the soles of the feet down onto the platform, that foot pad. Taking those short loops into the hands. Now you will maybe place the back of the heels onto the back of the platform as you press the heels through. The shoulders and the wrists will be in alignment, or even pushing further forward so that the collarbones and the wrists are in alignment. Palms of the hands are facing forward. Lift one leg, then the other. Find that breath. Inhale to consume that carriage. Expand on the back of the ribs. Exhale to drop the back of the ribs. From here, making sure the pelvis is nice and heavy. On the next exhale, we drop the back of the ribs, reach out nice and long. Back of the pelvis is nice and steady. Inhale. If you would like, extending one leg nice and long like you did before. Inhale. Exhale. Last one on either side. We're not here for too long. We have a little bit more jazz to get into. Draw back to center. On the next exhale, we'll take a double exhale, which means we'll exhale out to the side without the carriage moving. Exhale down to the hips. This time the carriage will move. Palms of the hands facing towards the hips. Flip the palms down towards the carriage. Inhale to reach them up to the sky. Exhale, double exhale out and down. Flip the palms, inhale, reaching up. Last two. Now this is nice circles through the shoulder joint. And at the moment we have them quite broken down. But for the next 4 that we have here, I'd like you to find a little bit more flow. So option to always stick to that structure, option to create a little bit more circular movement through the shoulder joint. A little bit more fluid motion. Last one. Slowly land the one foot, then the other back down onto that foot bar or that platform. Slowly draw back into the stoppers and take those straps just into the pegs. Lifting those hips, taking that ball from underneath. Now the back of the pelvis might feel a sense of lightness here, and that's a really cool sensation. So embrace it, let it feel good. Hands draw on to the shoulder rest, elbows out to either side. Walk those feet onto either side of the platform. Exhale the knees down to one side. Inhale back to center. Exhale the knees over to the other side. Inhale back to center. Exhale. Last one. Nice open, broad chest. Center, and we'll slowly lift up, whether you want to come through your side body or do your underhand grip, pressing the thighs away, trying not to use momentum, but coming into a seat. Now we already have that foot bar down, and we're gonna take that ball just off to the side, kicking it out of the way, take that box onto your reformer. Nope. Now again, we're all going to change our spring load to 1 medium spring. That's just 1 medium spring. For the regress and progression, level 1, level 2. Come to a seated position, slide the bum on to that box, facing the back of your reformer here. Feet are on the headrest, and those hands find the short loops. So they're gonna stay in the short loops unless you want that regression, that level 1 can possibly be in those longer loops. Sometimes it actually doesn't feel as comfortable to do it in the longer loops. So choose what you will, play around, have a little bit of a play. It's not necessarily a regression to take it into the longer loops after a while. And you'll know when we come back into those roll downs, that's when it won't feel like a regression, it will feel like a progression. All right, so what I'm trying to say is option here to always take the long loops, but let's start all in that nice little short loop situation. Scoot the bum up towards the front of that box, or a little bit squished in, but the feet are landed onto that headrest, the sit bones are onto that carriage. Reach the crown of the head, shoulders are nice and soft, maybe even give them a roll back into the back pocket. Those floating ribs soften. We don't want to find that extension to the spine. We just want to be nice and long to the spine. Flip the palms to face the sky, and the lower those elbows are and those bicep curls, the easier they will be, not saying they're easy. So start low, pull in, and reach out. Last one. If you would like to travel a little higher, travel a little higher. Using the exhales to draw into that bicep curl. Inhale to release. Last one. This time, we're all going to draw a little bit higher here, about medium range, so not quite at the tallest range, which is shoulder and wrist in alignment, but just a little bit below that. Find your bicep curl. We're gonna roll down through the spine. So send the tailbone forward, round through the spine. Slowly start to imprint the spine onto the mat. And the shoulders will reach off that reformer here. That's where we want them. Send the arms directly back behind you as you open the heart. Take a nice big circle sweep. So circle those arms, nod the chin, and slowly start to lift up. Right back to where we started. Flip the palms. Fold into that bicep curl. Nod through that tailbone. Roll through that spine. Reach out nice and long through those arms. Extend the spine, open the heart. Big circle sweep through the arms as you nod the chin, reaching forward, lifting all the way up. More core than we anticipate here. It almost feels like more core than we bargained for, but you've got this. You can always take that spring load up. It will be harder to find this extension bit of it, but it will make it easier to roll all the way back up with a shaky voice into that seated position. Last one here. Now we have an option to find your way into a teaser. We're gonna work into it. So I've started migrating back. So if you've started migrating back into the middle of that box as well, scoot the bum forward. From here, we're going to lift up through the left leg, fold into the biceps, roll back, keep that left leg lifted, reach the arms, nod the chin, reach and sweep those arms. As you roll back up, the chest draws towards that knee or that thigh. From here, we roll back, bicep curl, roll all the way back, nod the chin, reach it up before we lift, staying a little unsteady on the back of the pelvis, lifting that right leg to meet. From here, we're going to reach those arms out to the side. If that's there for you, find your variation. Of course, these are all variations and levels in or layers in. Last one, reaching out to the side. Keep those knees zipped together. If you are in this lifted position, that might be just one leg, it might be both. Take that right foot back down, left foot back down, and roll all the way up. Shake it out. Let's do it all again on the other side. So those are different bus stops. So jumping off whenever feels good, whatever bus stop feels good to you. And that might be that bicep curl. So let's do it. That might be that roll down and that extension. Nod the chin, ripple up and all the way in. Otherwise, let's lift up through the right leg and let's roll through. That same movement, just with that lifted leg. And before we come all the way up, maybe it feels good to lift that leg. Finding your teaser, heart is proud, it's drawing towards the tops of the thighs. Reach those arms out to the side. Hug those knees together. 2. Taking one foot down, then the other, and rolling all the way back up. Gorgeous work. Take those straps just into the well, into their shoulder rests. We're going to step off our reformer and we're all going to do the same thing, which is scoot our box to one side. So I'm choosing the right hand side of my reformer. So just being aware that that is the cueing that I'll take. So my box is shifted to the right hand side. It's not hanging off. It still has a comfortable, safe position here, but we have a little bit more space on that left hand side. Take that foot bar or that platform up and make sure that you have a nice medium spring. So if you have anything else but a medium spring, please take it off now, change it over. Hands onto the box, stepping on to that platform. Make sure it feels good here. Stepping that left leg or that leg that has all that space on the side onto that carriage. The right heel or that platformed foot is going to shift to the front of that platform, wrap the toes around, lift the heel. So we're not going to use the heel, and it even feels like all the weight is in that standing leg on the carriage. You can even kick that leg up if you want to. There's no weight on it. It's just there for decoration, really. No, I'm kidding. It does more than that. But from here, we're going to start to press the carriage away, fold into that carriage leg, lengthen through that other leg, the back leg on the platform. Fold in just enough that the knee and that box come into alignment, and then press back out. Shoulders and wrists are in alignment here. Exhale, press out. Inhale, fold in. Last one. This time, exhale, press out. Right hand finds the middle of that box. Peel the left hand arm up as if you're pulling a bow and arrow across the chest. Reach it up and then slowly draw it back down. Hands wrap around either side of the box, fold in. Press out. Hand then finds the middle of the box. Reach up, hug the shoulder blades together. Draw it down and in. Last one. Coming all the way back in, step both feet on to that platform. Now, discern what feels good to you and what's safe for you. take that box onto the other side. Now I have an extended platform and this is very secure for me, but different reformers feel different ways. So either stepping off or changing it over, stepping onto the outside of that box, hands on either side of that box here. Taking that standing leg that's on that foot platform just to the front. And once those hips are square, press out nice and long to that kickback leg, folding through. Press out and in. Last 3. Pressing out through the palms of the hands. This time, press out, pause, taking that hand to the middle, peeling up. Draw back down, hands frame that box, fold in, press out, and reach. Last one. And draw back in. Whew. Stepping off to the side of the box here, or finding any other stretch that feels good to you. And you, my friend, are done and dusted. Well done today. How did you do? Where did you get to in that teaser? Knowing what feels good in the body and stopping at those bus stops throughout or along the way is a really nice way to slowly build and work into that strength. You can always save this video and come back to it and notice as you gather a little bit more strength and awareness and proprioceptive awareness, or awareness where we are in space, then it will feel a little easier to get into that space and that place, that form of teaser. All right. I hope you had a great workout. I know I did, and I thank you so much for joining me in this video, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye.